I'd like to draw particular attention today to a self-identity last week as the good shepherd, and today as the true vine. So we find here two qualitative elements which demand our reflection: good and true. Each of these qualitative elements add some value to what Jesus says about himself, the identity that he presents to us. We usually caution people not to rate themselves too high, not to be boastful, to be prudent and humble. So for somebody to tell us, I am good, not in the sense of the American English, in place of being helped, but to say that he is a good man. Or for a person to say, I am true. He is the personification of truth. Usually we will raise our heads to look at the person and maybe look at him again and ask ourselves, who is he or she at all? To tell us he is good, to tell us he is true. You may even find such an expression or utterance from someone as a self-exaltation and exaggerated representation of himself or herself, and thus making us sometimes mock the person. And I do not think, brothers and sisters in Christ, we need to understand the self-presentation of Jesus as good and as true in similar terms. He did not say that he is good and true as a way of selling himself to us, but it is a way of telling his audience and all of us who really he is. There is no doubt that Jesus is the good shepherd. There is no doubt that he is the true vine. He is inviting us to appreciate who he is in reality. And in appreciating him in this way, we will learn from him. So, we thank you for telling us today that he is the true vine, and inviting us to delve more into what it means by being the true vine. To help us in this, he adds to himself being the true vine the quality of the Father. He says, my Father is the vine grower. My Father is the vine dresser. In taking into consideration the agricultural landscape of Israel at the time of Jesus, we can appreciate more the description that he makes of himself as the true vine. The vine in the Bible refers mostly to the grapevine that bears the fruit for producing wine. And it is very common to be planted on the hills and the slopes of Israel, particularly in the places where the land is not that good for other crops, but the vine can thrive. This vine abounds very much in Israel. And Jesus, as it is, wants to use the symbol of the vineyard to teach us about himself, but also about the role of the Father in his life. He uses the identity of being the vine, we will say, in a figurative way. And his listeners, who knew what a vine is, just as they know who a shepherd is, understood what Jesus meant. For you and I, we need to go back into the social life of the people of Israel to talk about the vine or the vineyard. In the natural sense of the vineyard, you know that the vine produces the grapes that is used for wine. And a true vine produces quality grapes. And from that quality grapes, they provide quality wine. Who does not like what is of quality? Who among those who like a sip of wine do not want it to be wine of quality? Quality wine can only come from quality grapes. And that quality grape must come from a true vine, not an adulterated one, not one that has not been able to get all that it needs to produce the right fruit. Jesus, in using the symbolism of the vine, in referring to himself, is telling us that he is the one who makes us produce fruits, produce good fruits. He makes us prosper. And he makes us, or gives us, peace. Because these are the three symbolisms of the vine in the Bible: prosperity, fertility, and peace. And for those who knew already this quality of his audience, he understood what Jesus was referring to when he said, he is the true vine. And we understand this better when we listen to how Jesus links up his own identity with that of the Father in the Gospel reading today. Similarly, also how he links it to his disciples. He tells us that his Father is the vine grower. His Father is the vine dresser. And his disciples are the branches of the vine. The picture for yourself: the man in the vineyard dressing, caring for the vine, so that it must produce the best fruits. And think of the branches shooting from the vine, branches which in the end will produce the grapes. How beautiful they are when they are healthy, when they are green. They look well nourished and promise to give good grapes. In fact, I would say that Jesus in this passage is relying on telling us that he relies himself on the Father. It's the Father who takes good care of him as a good vine dresser. And as the Father takes good care of him, he continues to have that link with the Father who sent him into the world, so that he can remain the true vine. Because if he himself, the vine, is cut away from the Father who dresses him, he is doomed to die. Not the death that he died on the cross, but the death that would have produced nothing close to the salvation that he won for us. He does not act independently of his Father. That is why, still in the Gospel of John, he will tell us that he and the Father are one. He is in the Father, and the Father is in him. And further down in this Gospel of John, he will tell his disciples, I am the vine, you are the branches. The link between him and his disciples. I am the vine, you are the branches. And we know that the branches of the vine are the ones that bear fruit. But they can only bear fruit if they are attached to the vine. When they are cut off, they wither and die. They are worth nothing. This shows us how the life of the disciple is intrinsically linked to that of Jesus. That true vine. Just as he himself is linked to the Father, the vine dresser. And one can only be a disciple if he is in union with Jesus, the true vine. And the sign of the true disciple is the fruit that the disciple bears. Disciples who bear good fruit are of great value. Because it's the worth of a disciple that does not bear good fruit. The vine dresser, seeing that such a branch may not produce good fruits, may decide to trim it, to cut it off, to prune it. And it is worth nothing after that. The true disciple is the one that remains on the vine and bears good fruit, good grapes that will be used to produce good quality wine. In the gospel passage of John, then, we can see that Jesus establishes his own identity, an identity that relates to the Father. And he invites the disciples to identify with him so that they can remain in him and he in them. And he indicates that it is through this link that the Father is linked to the disciples through him, Jesus Christ, the vine. The life that Jesus gives must be productive. It must bear fruit. If not, it is worthless. And as disciples of Jesus, we all take ourselves from the life of Jesus, who is linked to our Father. It is through him that we have knowledge of the Father. It is through him that we receive life from the Father. Our life depends on him, and without him, as he tells us himself in the Gospel of John 6, we can do nothing. There are, however, many who think that they can do or achieve things in this world or in their lives without relying on Jesus. And we know that it is not true. He who is not attached to the vine cannot bear fruit. That is why Jesus continues to invite each and every one of us to remain attached to him, the true source of life. As disciples of Jesus, we all need to learn to rely on him, our source of life. Because he is the one who gives us life so that we can bear good fruit in this life. And relying on Jesus means learning from him, following in his footsteps. There are many ways in which we can rely on Jesus, that we can remain attached to him, the true vine, in our daily lives. One of the many ways is an example that we have in the second reading today, or the source, how we can belong to him. So we find in the letter of St. John that we read in our second reading. It is his commandment of love. He asks us in the reading today to love one another. Love one another. Our love for one another is what makes us care for one another. How do you care for your brother, for your sister? As a sign of your being linked to Christ. As a sign of the good fruits that you bear because you are linked to Christ. A concrete example is given us in the first reading. Notice that when everybody was afraid of Paul, and we can understand why the Jerusalem church was afraid of him, they knew him as a persecutor. So they had reason to be afraid of him. They were not ready to show him that love that the community is supposed to show to brothers and sisters. But there was one man who stood out. That was Barnabas. We were told in the reading today that Barnabas took charge of Paul and introduced him to the apostles. He became the protector, the defender, the sponsor of Paul. But we also, as we read how still Paul's life was in danger because some people felt he must be killed. He killed people of the way. He killed Christians. He must also go the same way. But what did he hear of him? He whisked him out of Jerusalem and he went to Tarsus where he was born. The protection of Barnabas showed how he loved a brother Christian. Somebody who converted from being a persecutor, whom people rejected. And as we go on reading the story of Paul, we also notice that when Barnabas was sent by the Jerusalem church to Antioch, he decided to go and invite Paul from Tarsus to come and help him, opening him up to become the apostle to the Gentiles. This is how Barnabas showed his love for a brother Christian. How do we show our love for one another? How do we show our love for those around us? Today we are celebrating an act of love by a number of you who are here today. An act of love towards this seminary, where you show signs of your being good fruits. Because you see in the seminary an expression of God's call to mission, an expression of God's call to express your love for God, through the support of this seminary. Because without your assistance, this seminary cannot be followed. By your contributions, you share in the formation of future priests who will serve the vine that gives us life, Jesus Christ. I am the true vine, you are the branches. The branches that you are bear fruit in what you do so for this seminary. May you learn to remain always with the true vine, Jesus Christ. And with this vine, make you fruitful always, so that in your fruitfulness you can continue to share with the seminary and beyond. May God, who invites all of us to be united with His Son Jesus Christ, keep you to Himself, so that each and every one of us will be a true branch. We can be true disciples of Jesus Christ, spreading His good news